with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.
Roll for initiative.
Welcome back, RFI Nation. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, issue number 24. That's 2-4 equals 6, and now we're only 6. 24. I am your host, DM Vince, along with my two co-hosts, Nick and Jason. Jason, we're going to start off with you. I think you actually have a big announcement this week, so we're going to jump right into that real quick.
Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I'm pretty excited. I've been keeping this under wraps until it actually was live. But we now, Roll for Initiative, has its own iPhone app in the App Store.
Tell us a little bit how we get this and what do we do?
So obviously you're going to need to have an iPhone or an iPod Touch if you want to use this, but it'll work on both.
How about
What it is it's an app for the podcast. We charge $2.99 for it, and basically the way we're looking at this is if you've been looking for a way to support the show a little bit, but actually get something back, we didn't want to put up just a tip jar or something like that. But this would be a way to support the show. We only get a small cut of that, but still, there's that. But here's what the app actually does. First of all, it gives you access to the latest show and all of the back issues. So if you've been asking questions like, how do I listen to back issues? Do I have to download them all to my iPhone or my iPod beforehand? With this app, no, you don't, because you can just, with one touch, get access to any of the back issues, and the show notes are in all of them.
Wow.
You also have, right there, that's pretty cool, and you can download them locally. So if you are going to be on an airplane or a train or someplace that you don't have internet access to get streaming shows, you can download those for later. Also, there's a quick and easy contact page on here, so if you want to call the show, email us, any of those things, there's a one button that does it. So when you're using the app, you can actually press the button to call the show, and you'll get connected to the voicemail right away. Cool. Same with the email. Awesome. Links to our website. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter with this, and the Twitter stream at the moment is empty, so we'll have to start putting some things in there. I'll figure out how to link them all up together. And then the other thing is you get some bonus content with this as well. So right now we've got a little button in the top right that says Extras, and you can go there where you can download a wallpaper for your iPhone. So you've got with our wonderful artwork of the little Roll for Initiative guys. We are going to be putting some more things in there soon, such as some PDF downloads. We're all working on a little kind of handbook for the show, maybe some useful things to have while you're playing the game. That'll go up later. If you buy the app now, you will get all the updates, as it goes on. And then there's also the ability for us to put in some episode-specific things. So what we may do in the future, if we get the time. I mean, I don't want to make promises yet, but it does give us the ability if we wanted to push out some PDFs or something. So, say hypothetically that we had done a review of a module that was available for free, or that they wanted a license to us, we could actually push that out through the app. So, it's got some really neat stuff. You can see the artwork full screen. You can listen to the shows. You can listen to the back shows. And, it does support the show when you do it, so we appreciate that as well, of course.
Jason, question, does it work on the iPad now, too?
It only works on the iPad in the pixel doubled mode.
Oh, okay.
So I think... Basically, I mean, we built this with the help of Liberated Syndication, who actually hosts Wizard Media, is the actual company who actually hosts this show for us. So we're kind of at their whim in terms of rolling out new features, but hopefully an iPad version will be down the line. Not to mention an Android version. I would hope to see at some point as well, because I know that's getting very popular too. So
yeah, the Droid things got really popped out there. I got mine.
So we'll stick it on our website.
Yeah, we'll put a link up for it, and actually we were talking about maybe throwing a contest out there for some people to win one of the apps.
That's right. I
We're
almost
still
forgot.
discussing
So
that right now.
We do have a very small number of promo codes that are available. So I think we can give away 2 or 3. I'm not sure, but I don't know what the contest should be. I'd like it to be something for whoever could actually get the word out for us. Do you guys have ideas? Because I came into this blank.
I was thinking maybe an interactive one, using one of the voicemails, giving us some type of, I don't know, maybe.
All right, well, we'll figure out
Yeah.
a contest. So, you know what? If anybody's listening and they've got an idea for a contest, that could be part of it. The first person to come up with the idea for the contest automatically wins, and then the other 2 have to win at that.
Well, it has to be a good idea, not just I want to do a contest involving balloons or something.
It's got to be the first person to come up with the person who comes up with the idea we use.
Yeah, that's
It's got to be creative and, well, doesn't, like, draw blood. So
The only
Well.
requisite I would have for it would be that the contest somehow helps get the word out. So something that encourages people to tell their friends to listen to the show and download the show and even buy the podcast app if they want. Obviously, you can listen to the show for free. You will always be able to listen to the show for free. This is just a way to get a little bit of extra stuff, kind of show off, on your iPhone that you've got us there, and to support the show.
and also the show that we're not a bunch of Luddites either.
Right. Oh,
Nice.
yeah. So, well, you know what? I'll save that for later in the show because I know we're going to talk about the Skype game in a bit.
Yes, towards the end. All right, so well, big congratulations to us. Yay, us! And
Hooray us.
Ray us, yes, Ray us. Anyway,
Hooray.
Hurrah, huzzah, and that's us.
yeah,
okay.
that's us. So we're counting down to Gen Con. About a little over a week now, and Jason and I will be at Gen Con, playing it up, enjoying.
The countdown that you put on the homepage of the RFI podcast has got me just. I'm jonesing now just watching the countdown go.
I know it's like it was like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, okay, 5 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, yay! It's kind of like that.
I've got my T-shirts ordered. We're getting the flyers. We're going to be ready to go. So
Bring all the snacks and drinks you can.
Did you put a link
we're
on
bringing little flyers that are shaped
Yes.
to look like an iPhone with the app with the stuff on there. So hopefully, if you see some things that look like little paper iPhones laying around, grab one because that's a flyer for the show.
Cool.
Yes, and we would appreciate it if you pass them out too. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. We're bringing 2,000 flyers, which isn't a lot, but considering we're just handing them out by hand, if anybody wants to help, let us know.
And if you want to get your T-shirt, Jason, did you put that link up on the website? Because some people were asking about it on Dragon's Foot.
Yes, it's up on the website now, easier to find. And there's still time to get T-shirts. They do expedited shipping, so...
RFIpodcast.com is the website. RFIstaff@gmail.com is our email. And if you want to call us by phone, the number's right there on the bottom. Give us a call. And let's head over to Nick, who's going to be heading up the Pimping for Stars this week. I know it's not a lot of things we like to do, but this is a great comment, so we had to read it.
Yeah, this is a really fun comment. This was off the iTunes website here, and it's from Logic, spelled Lawjick, and he gave us 5 stars, and he said, "Nifty, nifty, peachy keen." I love it. But listen to a bunch of the podcast with my fiance on our cross-country trip. Got to the other side of what, I have no idea. And she started hunting for a first edition player's guide for herself. These guys do a great job. So thank you, Logic. That's
yes, definitely.
That's incredible. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
That's a great
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. And articles, Jason, what do we got?
Okay, so there's a new +2 to save up, as there is every week from Todd Hughes, who's really good about getting this up. This week it's called Death Becomes Them, and it's a topic that's pretty close to my heart. It's all about character death. Essentially, should they be allowed to die? Really putting some danger back into the game, which is a old school grognard I am all for. So
yeah,
really well written, great article that's up there this week.
Didn't we do an episode on death?
If we didn't, we should. But also just a few other things that are up there worth taking a look at. There's the list that Nick put up last week of the animals that are affected by Ring of Animal Friendship. And then, Vince, I think you've put up some stuff about, speaking of not being Luddites, about a cool iPhone app called Spellbook.
Yes. Yeah. Sword and Wizardry Spellbook it's for.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah. It's
did we stop with the Gen Con? Because there's one more thing I was going to say about it if we've already passed it.
No, go ahead.
So the other thing about Gen Con is... Oh, it slipped my mind. I don't know what it was. Before we leave the intro, come back to me. I'll remember. Keep going.
Okay.
There's something about Gen Con. No idea what it is. But, you know what? Here's what it is. This is all it is. It was completely a personal note on Gen Con. I was going with the whole gaming group. There was about 5 of us that went last year.
You said that, right?
Yeah. Everybody has backed out.
Ooh.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one from my gaming group going. So, whoever's listening to this podcast, hit me up. Let's hang out at Gen Con because I need some people to hang with. So, I mean, you'll be there, Vince, so that's already a big plus. But anybody who wants to just, like, meet up and go hit the wargaming tables or, hit the True Dungeon or...
Even play a game with us.
Play a game with us, play a pickup game, let me know because I've got all the time in the world.
I want to go.
Well, let's go. We'll pick you up on the way.
I'm sorry.
I can't go, unfortunately.
I'm sorry. Nick is not included in this deal. No.
No, I can't go anyway. I got a class this summer, so I can't miss it.
Void in Ohio.
Yeah.
Well, Nick,
right.
I'm going through Ohio. I could swing by and pick you up.
Let me get back to you on that.
All right. Well, that's going to end the intro, and we're going to head into Sage Advice.
Sage Advice.
All right, Sage Advice. Actually, we have a bunch of stuff to read tonight, and I actually have one voicemail that was called in, and I'm going to head to that first because I always think the voicemails, that's an extra step for somebody to do a voicemail, so I'm going to play that first as a reward. So sit back, guys, relax, and get ready for this.
Okay.
Hi, this is Julie Hoverson. I'm a old school gamer, been around forever, and I just discovered your show. I've only just scratched the surface of it, but you're giving me worse flashbacks than Schoolhouse Rock. Those old days. Oh, it's been so long since I've played any D&D. But anyway, I wanted to call in and say hi and say I do have legit cred in the old gaming industry. I even have a trap in one of Grimtooth's traps. So, oh, that dates me so bad. But I wanted to say you've been entertaining me, and I hope at some point to give you a ring and talk shop or something. Have a good day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like her.
Grimtooth's traps. Grimtooth's traps. That is about the most cred you can have.
Yeah.
That pretty much puts you down as a proper player-killing DM.
I like you.
Yeah, Julie will be coming onto the show to talk to us about her experiences, and right after around Gen Con, around August sometime.
That'll be nifty.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to her about that and how she got in there and her experiences, and she might sit with us during the show. Who knows, if she has some time.
So we need to make that show the Traps episode.
Yes.
That's what we'll do, because I've been thinking about this for a while. We really need to do an episode on traps.
And I
like how she was talking about Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, that had me laugh, too.
I'm just a bill, I'm only a bill.
Great girl. I had a good talk with her over Skype. She actually does audio dramas. 19 Nocturne Boulevard, an award-winning anthology series, audio drama. It talks, some of the episodes do have some involvement with some stories about gamers, but not all of them, but really good series. Does a good job. 19nocturnevideo.net is her website. If you guys want to drop over there and just give her a listen and give her some feedback, because she put some hard work into those audio dramas. They take a lot of time.
Absolutely.
As Jason and I both.
What was the URL again? One more time.
19nocturnevideo.net.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, and we also had an email come in from Samwise7 Tim. It actually just goes by Samwise normally. He actually had followed me from another podcast that I did in the past called Darker Days, and he said he found this one recently, and he's like, oh, cool, and he's actually been doing a lot of videos on YouTube describing the player's handbook, the DM guide, and the monster manual, just his thoughts on it, and how he feels about it, how he uses it, his experiences, so you get to see what he has to say. YouTube.com/user/Samwise7RPG. He calls himself an old school convert.
All right, so we will put that link up in the show notes as well.
It's on the site.
You betcha.
It's on the site already.
Okay, good.
And we have a bunch of other letters. Jason, you want to take the first one?
Okay, so the first one is from Robert, who just writes in and says, "Hey guys, just listening to issue 22. Have to say that I still like the new actual play format. It's pretty entertaining. I definitely wouldn't want to see that go away, but mixing it up once in a while with the original might be cool too." So we got a lot of feedback about this. I think we're catching our groove on this, learning how to keep it punchy and moving along without just describing the monster right at the beginning. And would like to hear some feedback actually from anybody who, since the last issue, I've started putting in chapter markers so you can actually jump ahead to the reveal. So if anybody has any opinions on that, let me know if that was helpful to you. And thank you, Robert.
Definitely.
Sounds like we're getting like a lot of the kinks out of it. Just like some people like I myself got to remember about, sleep spells and such and how they work.
Yes, Nick, you do.
Yeah, I got a little feedback on that one. Say, hey, it only works on 4 hit dice or less. I'm like, don't! I forgot
You know what?
Brain locked.
That's we all have these DM moments. Every one of us has done this at least once in the show. Every one of our listeners has done that, and if they say they haven't, then they are lying. So this is just showing you how real we are.
Yeah,
we're so real we forget stuff.
All right, and we have another letter coming in, and we're going to throw that one to Nick.
Yes, Juan Pablo. He writes in and says, "Hey guys, I confess I have no love for demi-human level limits back in my 2nd edition days, and I completely agree with DM Vince on waiving those restrictions. Balance," and he puts that in quotes, "on a long term is not acceptable to me. Let's face it, most campaigns take quite a long time to advance from the lower levels to 9th level, where most level limits begin to kick in, if I remember correctly. As a DM, I prefer a leveled playground for all my players, even more so when there is no plausible explanation in the rules to stop demi-humans from advancing beyond certain levels, or picking certain classes for that matter. Nick's comment on giving some kind of bonus to humans depending on their heritage/background hits the bullseye." So thanks, Juan Pablo. He's got some pretty good ideas there as far as, I have to agree with him to a certain degree. I don't know about the certain classes issue, but, level limits I'm kind of like looking at now is like,
Were there level limits in 2nd edition? No. I don't know. I don't remember 2nd
Well,
edition.
it's the same sort of approach. And, thank you, Juan. I think it's really interesting. And the points that you're making is, that go along with what you guys, Nick and Vince are saying. It is really a shame that you're all completely wrong.
Oh!
But it's too bad because it kind of makes sense. It would be great if you were in any way accurate or correct, but unfortunately, that's not the way it is.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you were thinking about when we were talking last time about how there was another person, I forget their name, but they talked about, they gave some pretty good logic on why there is level limits, because that would imbalance the whole world towards all the other demi-humans and not humans.
Yeah, Cyril said that one, I believe.
Well, you know what else? It doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense that a magic user can never can never wear metal armor, but he can carry a dagger. Nor does it make a lot of sense that a cleric can't use edged weapons, but their mace can draw blood. But sometimes that's the game.
Yep, and that's why people do house rules. So there you go.
Anyway, and our last comment comes in from Bodani from the dragonsfoot.org forums. He points out, and I added this word to it, maybe having the played version of Creature Feature every other week with a solid discussion of the previous week's encounter could work as well. This is less pressure for all. On the off week, you guys can discuss tactics available to the creature, etc.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I thought that was a
That's
pretty
pretty
cool
cool.
idea.
That is a very good idea.
We'll have to think about that one.
Ooh, I have one more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have one more comment. Unless we wanted to talk about that a little more.
No, that's cool.
I just think he's right. It's a good idea. We might give that a shot.
Yeah, definitely. I got this just a couple of days ago. It's from Christopher Letzelter. He was commenting on the Making Dragons Dragon article I did. And he said, I'm with DM Nick on this one. In fact, I'm in the middle of developing a Dragon's Lair adventure in an abandoned mine, and have referenced the Dragon Magazine article. Besides beefing up the dragon's combat ability, I was inspired by Reagan Gygax's ideas to use 10 and 12-sided hit dice for larger, stronger, older creatures.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm toying with the idea of an adult green dragon having more hit points per die. This would also adjust its breath weapon damage upward and make it more formidable. And he said another trick to use is to give the dragon some minions, whether they're charmed, cowed into servitude, or admirers of the beast's power. They could serve as frontline troops, which allow the dragon more tactical opportunities. Reptilian minions such as troglodytes, lizardmen, and fire newts may be more disposed to allying with the dragon than orcs or goblins. Let's see, what else did he say? Other large reptiles such as giant lizards, wyverns, basilisks, and dracolisks are natural fits for the service. So, and he goes on a little bit more on that. So, yeah, it's a really good suggestions. So,
Very good.
thank you very much.
Okay, cool. And we're going to head over into the table management.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
All right, and that'll bring us into table matters this week, and we'll be talking a little bit about DM advice. A lot of people like this type of idea of role-playing and bringing your taverns to life, one of the most overlooked things in games. So,
ironically enough, considering that it's one of the most common places for people to start out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Jason, did you have something to say about?
It's interesting on this though. Oh no, yeah. The other thing I was just gonna on the last segment before we went into the table manners. I don't know if do you guys watch the IT Crowd?
No.
Have you seen the show? Okay, well,
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
All right. You've got to get it. Find a way to get it. This isn't the forum for discussing how one goes about getting a Channel 4 show from England to watch here in the United States, but I'm sure our listeners are geeky enough to know how to do that, and probably watch the IT Crowd this season, best season yet. And there was a big thing on the first, I think it was the first episode, where Roy and Moss, the two main guys, are now playing Dungeons and Dragons. So,
all right.
Just one of the best lines ever when Roy's boss comes in and she finds out that he's doing this. He explains that he's going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons, explains what it is, and she says, okay, dungeons, so is that some kind of a sex thing? And his answer is, far from it, Jen. It's excellent. Graham Linehan is the guy who writes the show. He also wrote two of my favorite shows of all time, Father Ted and Black Books. And it turns out that he's a big geek, played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons back in the day himself. So you've got to check the show out. It's awesome. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Back to the taverns.
Yes, taverns. So how can we make the most overlooked place, a tavern, fun again?
Well, so right off the bat, it's kind of I went looking for anything that had been written about this, and you're right. It's such a thin amount of material that's out there. There's one article in Dragon Magazine, at least that I could find in the index, and it's all the way back in Dragon number 29, which is one of the only issues I don't have a copy of. So I don't know what they had to say.
Wow.
I don't know what they had to say. The Judges Guild was going to publish a book called Inns and Taverns that was a handy, what do you call those things? Assistance for creating taverns? Supplement.
Yeah.
Thank you. That one was never published. It never made it into print. So
Oh.
I don't know if anybody knows any old Judges Guild folks. Find out if there's a manuscript somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I couldn't find anything from Rolaids, and even the Dragon's Foot forums didn't have a lot of people talking about it. So I thought the best thing to do is maybe to start by looking a little bit at the actual historical role of taverns, because they weren't the same as what we think of as a tavern today.
Okay.
Now, everybody's probably playing their campaigns in slightly different settings. You know, there's no historical age in our world that D&D is based off of specifically.
No.
But, you know, and I've seen people set D&D campaigns in, 19th century, what would today be called like a steampunk kind of setting even. But most people go for the sort of Middle Ages sort of type of setting. I mean, I've seen people go as far back as ancient Greece and that kind of stuff, and it works for all of them. But it's usually, classical fantasy.
Yeah, a quasi medieval society kind of thing.
Quasi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
the Arthurian era. Arthurian era. What? Oh, I can't pronounce it.
Arthurian's perfect. Yep.
Thank you.
Any of that. So. As it so happens, I just got done reading an excellent book, which I'd recommend to anybody, called The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England. And that's it's by Ian Mortimer. He's a great historian who it's completely straight up historical book on things. His one little innovation is he writes in the present tense, so you can really kind of get the feeling for what it's like to go somewhere. So it really feels like a travel guide, which makes it really good for gamers because it's written in a sense that you can really take a lot of the stuff that he's writing about and think about how you'd put it into your games. So when he talks about inns and taverns, I didn't really realize this, but they weren't the sort of places where you would go in necessarily and just sidle up to the bar and order a drink and they're trying to do a business. They were born out of necessity as much as anything. A lot of times this is just the only place that you could stop to get something to eat. If you were trying to go into an inn, you didn't go up to a front desk. I mean, I see this all the time when people built. Me too. I've done this. I can find maps that I did way back where you draw the inn or the tavern and you draw it like a modern hotel almost. There's a front desk, and you go up to the front desk and you check in and you take your bags upstairs or whatever. But these inns, a lot of times they had started out as just somebody's house and sort of gradually become a place of lodging. Or a tavern started out simply as, again, somebody's house or a brewer who, since a lot of the artisans of the time would live and work in the same building, most people didn't actually live somewhere and go to work. It was all right there. So the brewer would just start selling the beer and the mead and the ale and whatever else. And if you go into these places, you're not going to expect to be treated like a customer. A lot of times you're going to have to convince them even to serve you in the first place, or that you're worthy of being put up. I mean, when I was looking at this, apparently there used to be laws on the book in medieval England that would actually require innkeepers to offer every visitor a bed. And the very fact that there had to be those laws kind of indicates that most of the time they didn't want to give people a bed unless they felt like it. So right off the bat, I mean, if you're starting to populate your tavern or your inn, think about, before anything else, who owns it. What kind of person is the proprietor? And just before you even go and try to talk to the mysterious stranger in the corner, how are you going to get the proprietor to treat you with any respect?
You bring up a really good point on when you're saying that inns and taverns in medieval Europe, if you even look beyond England, in medieval Europe in general, came up out of necessity. And me being a history major and learning about, and my focus is on medieval Europe.
Way more than this one book that I just read.
Yeah.
Actually, just to kind of give an idea of why the necessity was there, and I'm not saying I'm a total expert, just from what I've learned from other people.
You have to be smarter than me now. You gotta outsmart me.
Well, one of the places, or I should say, when you look at the routes to, for example, to monasteries and to pilgrimage sites, along the way, people needed places to stay, needed to eat. So many of these inns and taverns were if not built, somebody along the route on a pilgrimage route was in the right place, had the right type of facility, for example, to necessitate to make a tavern or an inn, and it kind of grew out of that. Now, some of them were built along the way, or at the pilgrimage site, or what have you. So, yeah, when you're talking about necessity, this is a really good example when they had back in the medieval period all these pilgrimage sites all through Europe, especially through like Spain and Italy and France, where pilgrims would take a long journey. They needed a place to sleep. They needed to get some food and drink, and that's how a lot of these places came up.
That's another really good point to bring up, is the whole issue of pilgrimages, because travel was not as uncommon in the Middle Ages as people sort of think of it now. They think everybody just stayed in their home and they never went more than 10 miles from home or something. But I have read up a little bit on these things, and it seems like pilgrimages were almost fun. I mean, I don't mean people would pack up the kids and go to Disneyland sort of thing, but in a world where religion was the very core of everything that people did, the pilgrimage to go and see these holy relics, it was a sacred quest that they'd be going on to do it. But at the same time, it was kind of like the saints were like their celebrities. They heard the stories about them, they knew that, and they would be going to these places because they wanted to see this relic of the saint. It wouldn't necessarily be a pilgrimage to try to ask for something so much as just the opportunity to see it. So in your campaign, pilgrimages would make a lot of sense. If you have heroes of the time, it doesn't have to be around the pantheons and the deities necessarily. It could just be pilgrims who are going to see the great, the place where somebody slew a dragon once and they want to see the teeth of the dragon that were left behind. So the different kind of taverns that would crop up along different pilgrimage routes would have very distinct flavors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah.
You hit
So
on
maybe
very
if
good
you're-
points there.
You can probably compare them to like themed rest stops of our time right now.
That's a
You
really
could.
good way to look at it.
You can almost, you can almost put it that way.
The giant ball of mud, the twine,
Yeah.
the ball of twine.
Oh, I love those things. I am a sucker for them. So,
Yeah, me
there
too.
you go. So right off the bat, we're hitting on the first thing you can do if you want to really make your tavern come to life is think about, why is it there? Not just you walk into a bar, but are you along some pilgrimage route? Are you near the site of some historic event? Make it a theme. Make it a theme restaurant, so to speak.
Make it
Well,
Bennigan's.
when you're talking about like themes, one of the things I was thinking about is, place the inns or taverns in unusual locations. Maybe the tavern is inside a cave, for example. That was one of the things I was thinking of.
That's nice. I like it.
Or one of the ones I came up for when I did my Salt Marsh campaign not too long ago is one of the inns was on a floating dock.
Oh, that'd be cool, yeah.
I was just thinking when you said that I was thinking about those underwater hotels. Maybe I can't. I don't play magic users enough to think off the top of my head what type of high-level magic user spells would be necessary to build a proper underwater tavern, but I'd like to go to one of those.
I did a tavern in one of my games when it was the first part of the tavern was above on a dock like yours was, sort of, Nick, but you took this elevator down and it went underneath to like this whole other like tavern part of it, and it was magic users covered the bubble around the tavern where you could look up and see the water, and there was fish floating around, and you could take a ship to someplace else underwater. So it was kind of cool how I did that.
That's excellent.
You were talking about Jason, about a book of inns and taverns. I have one.
What do you have?
It is by Dark Furies Publishing.
Oh,
I got this a few years back. It's for that system that will not be named, but it could be easily adapted.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still out. I don't know if you could still get it, but it's called. It's part of their Masterwork Maps series, and it's called Inns and Taverns, and it has like over 70 floor plans in here of different types of taverns and inns,
Perfect.
And one of them is it's called the Four Oaks, and it's actually an inn. And it's made of a tree.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like almost exclusive. And it has. Here's another thing that you can go with. Maybe you have an inn or a tavern that caters like exclusive clientele. Like in this case, the Four Oaks, it almost exclusively caters to elves and half-elves.
That makes sense.
Or there's another one. It's called the Blue Flame Cafe, and their clientele they attract is sages and wizards and what have you.
Actually, there you go. A good thing if you want to model. It doesn't always have to be a tavern that you do model these meeting places on. You might have it be the place where you buy ale and that type of thing. But take a look at Middle Eastern coffee shops. Because in the Middle East, the coffee shop is the hub of all this intellectual activity, and you'll get these guys standing around, for hours with a cup of coffee that'll burn through your bottom of your cup, just ruminating on things. When you said sages, I instantly imagined that sort of a Baghdad street scene.
Or you can go to you can go to Starbucks and look at all the people sitting there drinking coffee all day on their laptops.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
True.
Kind of
I'd love to see some wizard parody of them on their laptops.
Definitely.
Yes.
Be sitting around with their scroll books illuminated.
All right.
their crystal balls and
Drinking their coffee, all day long.
scrolling through.
All right, guys.
And they're like fighting to get a plug-in on the side or something.
Oh, wow. All right, moving along to our second point. Now you got the people in the tavern. You set up what the tavern's like. How do we keep them in there to interact and play things out other than I go over and ask the darkest, mysterious figure in the corner what I need to know, and then we leave?
Well, I'm going to go back to fiction again for this one, and I think what's one of the most famous taverns in all of fantasy fiction, the Vulgar Unicorn. So from the Thieves' World series, that I think Jeff Grubb talked about it as well. Didn't he say that he wrote at least a couple of Thieves' World stories?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I hope I'm right about that. But if you go back and you pick up the Thieves' World books, so many stories are based around the Vulgar Unicorn, and it's a great place to just to get storylines and ideas. There's actually even, as long as we're talking about source books, there is a book from Green Ronin. It's specifically for the Thieves' World game, not for the AD&D world, but that's okay. I mean, it's $2 first of all.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, and it's basically an adventure module. It's got a whole module set just around that particular tavern, but it also has a detailed map and a room description of the Vulgar Unicorn, and it can give you some ideas for kind of storylines where they might start.
Cool.
So what you want to do then is essentially have a adventure that you've sort of sketched out in outline form. Don't actually write out a whole adventure for this, but just have some kind of an idea of a storyline that is not going to involve the player characters necessarily, but that's going to drive the action that's going on in the tavern and that can be tangential to where you're actually trying to get them. So it doesn't just feel like a railroaded session.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the only thing you have going on is you see the mysterious figure in the corner with the hood over his head and the bartender who looks at you and says, "Hi, fine lad, who are you today?" It's silly.
C-3PO,
but if you actually see things going on, there's a fight at the bar. There's a woman who's just slapped a man and walked out. There's a couple of wrestlers who are placing bets in the corner. And any of these kind of storylines, you just
that's really good. One of the things I do to get my players involved, and probably because I'm just kind of mean, I get them into trouble into the inner tavern. I kind of like think of some of these places like the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like you. You watch yourself.
Oh, yeah. Cut off his arm.
One of the things, and sometimes you just have them walk into a place and they'll cause trouble all on their own.
Oh, yeah.
I had, again, in that Salt Marsh campaign, the tavern I told you was on the floating dock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is like the seediest place in all Saltmarsh, where the old crusty sailors and cutthroat thieves go, and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the players, he was playing a magic user. In his background, he was a sailor, and he thought he can blend in and all that. And he was literally the fish out of water here. And I rack it up to inexperience, but I just let him go with it. I'm like, fine. The hole you dig yourself into, that's your problem. And he did like something totally bizarre. We still call him on it once at a time. We crack jokes about it. Is that he bought himself a beer and he's sitting down, he's talking with some guy, and I forget how he got to this point, but he goes, "Here, let me give you a drink." And he took a sip of his own beer and handed it to the guy.
Nice.
And I'm like, "You did what?" He goes, "Yeah, here." And I'm like, and that's where the fight started. And
I can't even imagine what would lead him to describe such an action.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah, and he basically got himself pummeled. So, but one of the things I do is just like sometimes you just let them go. They'll find trouble on their own in that place, or I'll just sow the seeds of discontent right in there.
What I normally like doing is I sometimes like to draw out the ends on a little battle map. It's kind of fun. I like to position people certain places, and I love to do like little thieves, like halflings pickpocketing my characters.
Oh, sure.
Or I love the you glance across the room and you see this salty-eyed half-orc giving you an eye look, and my players cannot resist that. That's an automatic get up and go over and, excuse me, what are you doing?
Of course.
Yeah.
Have them find trouble.
Yeah, or like you see someone peering in the window, and as soon as you look, he dodges away. It's like they always have to go look. So those are the type of things I like doing, or having fights upstairs in the rooms inside the tavern. They never can resist that too.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just a few viewings of any episode of Deadwood, and you'll have enough ideas for tavern encounters.
Oh my gosh!
When you mentioned fight upstairs, absolutely.
There was a good show that was on TV. Oh, probably about early '80s, and it involved sort of a Dungeons and Dragons plot. I think it was called Wizards and Sorcery or something.
Wizards and Warriors, yes.
Yeah, I remember that. And they had a lot of stuff that happened inside taverns and how people were interacting. And that was a great show. Too bad it only lasted like 4 episodes.
Yeah, it was cool.
And what was that one on Comedy Central they had for a while? Something with the flaming sword.
Oh.
You lost me. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was a medieval type thing, and he had this. He was a prophecy, and he was a whatever guardian of some sort.
I'm assuming it was a comedy.
It was a comedy based in like the medieval times. It was really funny. It only lasted like 6 episodes though.
If you figure out what it was, let's get that in the show notes because I want to check it out too.
Yeah, I'll see if I could find if Dark Furies Publishing is still around. If they still have this source book, this Inns and Taverns thing, and it has beautiful maps in here. Really good layouts.
All right,
definitely try to find that. Also, just last couple of things on source material you might want to do. There's also a Discworld game, so there's some great stuff around their famous tavern, the Broken Drum, which in later books became the Mended Drum. And just if you're looking for good plots to place around a tavern, all you need to do is watch any of the hundreds of amazing, noir films that came out of Hollywood back in the old days of Bogart and Cagney, or like we said, just look for some good episodes of Deadwood or something. Just feel free to grab from storylines that have nothing to do with the period because it'll surprise your players because they weren't expecting that type of a thing anyway.
Absolutely.
And our last topic, what about props and music? You guys use any of that?
I do bring music into the games, and especially around a tavern, it's kind of good to have a little bit of an ambient sound of glasses clinking and that kind of stuff when I can remember to do that sort of thing. Props, not so much.
Yeah. I like to maybe when they order an ale, I'll give them like a medieval mug or something just to have in front of them as a representation of an ale.
Does you make sure that the mug has the letters LARP on the side?
God.
Yes.
Let's not go there.
The name of the show is Crod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire.
That's it, yes.
It's a good name, if nothing else.
Very, very, very funny, and my favorite character was the magic user. He was a black guy, and he kept, every time Crod wanted to do something, he kept saying, "Are you trying to say that I'm your slave?" Like, he'd say things like that.
Wow.
So it was kind of fun. Yeah, like just kind of silly things they had, and they had like a gay thief and stuff like that. It was really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you just got to check it out. It only lasted a couple episodes, unfortunately, because it was too, what is it, lowbrow, highbrow? I don't know.
Didn't get the ratings.
Oh well.
Yeah, just didn't get the ratings.
I've seen Comedy Central. There's no such thing as too lowbrow.
Yeah. You know, I've used music, and in fact, somewhere on YouTube I found somebody put all the different bits of music from all the Baldur's Gates out there, and I have them in my playlist. And if I want to play, music from an inn or something, I just go right to that automatically.
So, any closing thoughts, guys, on bringing your tavern to life tonight?
We said it all. We said everything that could ever be said about it. No more needs to be said. Don't bother writing us letters. We said it all. No, I'd like to hear what people. I'd like to hear what people do, because, like we said at the beginning of this, there ought to be a lot more material out there than there is about this. Yeah. So, if anybody has some of their favorite taverns that they've created for their games that they want to share, especially, I think that's a good thing to put up, or just good stories that they'd like to share from their own adventures.
I think this would be a great article if Todd ever gets around to doing it, since he writes very well. So
true, that's a good point. We should suggest that to him.
All right,
Todd, I hope you're listening. There's a suggestion.
Go for it, Todd.
Woo, Todd. Anyway, let's go into our adventure construction segment.
Adventure construction.
All right, adventure construction set. This week is entitled The Artifact. So we were talking last week with our featured villain, who has no name as of right now, is a druid. Druid. And we were talking about he has some type of magical artifact. We were calling it the Spear of Destiny for now.
Okay.
Kind of like the Pick of Destiny, Tenacious.
The Fork of Destiny.
Well, we'll probably want to come up with another name. That's a pretty loaded name in the real world. But that's what we've got right now. We've got some type of a Spear of Destiny. So what do we want to do with this? Are we tying? I am not as familiar with the actual book that we're basing this off of. You've used it more. So do we want to start building some of our storyline yet, or is this getting more of the what is the artifact first?
This is more of the what is the artifact, because then it can help us get ideas off of why he has it and why the adventurers need to take it away from him.
Okay, good. So there's two different ways you can kind of do a story. You can start with the concept and build your items from that, or your items can actually inform your storyline. So we're doing that approach. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the things I did just to get a jump off point, I used the artifacts and relics powers tables out of the DMG just to kind of give an idea. And I jotted some things down which I thought this particular item might be in it. And I know Vince had a couple ideas too. So
yeah,
good.
Go ahead, Nick. Let's hear what you got.
Well, what I did is I kind of like what's its purpose. Well, what I did is I looked at it. Maybe it has a couple of the prime powers, so I started kind of backwards on the table and started on table 5, and I kind of read through and I thought what would be what would be its major powers as far as like what's its purpose. And we're talking about this druid who's trying to bring balance to everything. So I'm looking at, what was it? It is F. A death ray equal to a finger of death with no saving throw 1 time a day.
Wow.
So it causes death. And on top of that, it also does monster summoning 8 twice a day. So not only will it cause death, but you can also summon monsters with it too to cause not only death but chaos and destruction. So that was one of the things I was kind of going with there. I'm like, that might fit.
Definitely artifact level.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was kind of thinking his spear was more of a, kind of a special artifact he doesn't take into any battles, but he uses it to do things with it, and he would only touch it when he really needed it, as if he would put it like a pedestal and honor it the rest of the time, because it's such a great artifact, a wondrous artifact. I was thinking he had the ability of, if you look at the medallion of thought projection, because Jason was talking how he could figure out how the lawful sides and the chaotic sides, the balance is uneven. He could read thoughts and sense the thoughts and feelings of others. Maybe he can use it for that. I was also thinking, since we were saying he was sneaking in and out of areas, spying on people, some type of like shadow walk ability that he can do a couple times per day and spy on certain people if you wanted to. Those would.
Okay.
I was thinking of it more of just a Destiny type, prevention, not more of a battle type thing.
Right. This is an artifact that he's using for his big aims, his ruling of and control of his area, not, as you say, to go fight somebody in a battle.
It's a questing item for
That's why I was kind of like going with the idea of like, with the monster summoning, also animal summoning from it. So creating minions basically for him to control.
Maybe some type of influence or control power that he can do once a day, and then he convince people to follow him while he's holding it or something.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be in the book. It could be your own invention. It doesn't have to be from first edition, but it could be from a book you're reading on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you're creating here is the artifact that he's going to go to at certain moments. He doesn't carry it with him.
No.
And a lot of the powers this artifact has are going to be powers that exist to keep people away from it. So that's where your monster summoning or animal summoning also comes in. This spear protects itself.
I also threw in the spear has like a side effect or maybe a curse you want to call it, but it has an aging property to it. So that it has like one of those mysterious mysteries. The Spear of Destiny. Anybody that uses it gains 10 years every time they use it, or something like that.
That's actually a really good point. We're talking about the powers of it, but we should throw in some of the legend and lore around it.
Right.
Because anything that really has a level of power, whether it's a monster or a baddie or an artifact, it's going to generate all of these stories that are way beyond even what it really does do. Yeah. So it ought to have a few stories that are sort of red herrings.
Well, yeah, you could say something like it was forged by the elves and the mountains with the dwarves together to keep balance in the world, and only they were able to control it, or something.
It could even be, like you were just saying, it's said that anytime somebody touches it, they age 10 years if they wield its powers. And then the reality could be that it's doing something like draining somehow. Maybe it drains...
Constitution?
Constitution's a temporary constitution drain. Yeah. I was thinking of life energy, like experience points. It should do something to keep, not just to keep the main baddie from using it all the time, but also if the players do manage to get a hold of the artifact, I think a good artifact should not be something that they can really use.
Right.
In the campaign.
There should be that fear behind it as well.
Yeah, I got a feeling because of this guy, being a druid, he's trying to bring the balance back to things. He's thinking there's too much good in the world. I guess that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I do think this artifact should be... I don't know why I was thinking about it, but maybe it was an evil artifact that was forged by, I don't know,
Drow?
Clerics of Grummish, the god of the orcs.
Vecna.
and it was used by them. I don't know. So maybe because of that, he's trying to bring balance. Like, I should use an evil artifact and its influence to bring balance back into the world.
An evil artifact?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least the lore behind it, if you get my idea.
Yeah, forged by evil elves or something, dark elves in the caves where the sunlight was not, blah 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 blah. Something
Right.
Like that.
All right, so let's repeat it back. What have we created as the artifact now?
All right, so it has thought projection. It has some type of shadow walk ability, so he can sneak in and out of the shadows without detection and spy on people. We would limit that per day.
Mm-hmm.
Say maybe like twice or 3 times a day. The thought projection, we will probably limit that as well. Let's see. There's probably an aging curse on it, maybe.
Okay,
or
so
like Jason
how
said,
about the different abilities that it has, the different powers that it has, have different debilitating side effects. So something really powerful, like let's say like the Death Ray or something like that, would drain your Constitution for the day, or even lose you some experience points. Whereas maybe something like the Shadow Walk has less of a negative effect, but still should have some.
I would think the thought projection maybe would hit your intelligence or wisdom, maybe.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So the thought projection.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. I was just thinking another thing to kind of just show how kind of twisted this item is. You get animate dead several times, maybe 7 times a week. I
don't know if I'd see the druid going the animate dead way. You, Jason?
It's hard to say. I mean, it doesn't mean that the druid would ever use it. It could just, because he didn't create this artifact, he came about it in some way. So that could be something that he knows is in there, but he also knows that, well, first of all, it would have a real debilitating effect, because I think that the power that the spear draws, obviously it's drawing it from all of the other planes and the way that magic works, but some of that power has to go, let's say, through the wielder. So if you're animating dead, I think there's a really good one to have some kind of a level drain effect on you, essentially, as if you had to put some power into them to make it happen. So it would be a real last resort.
I'm kind of thinking this is matching the whole Star Wars going to the dark side when it, can become twisted and tainted and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or
his mind has now become twisted and evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he uses this too much, it's going to have an effect on him.
Maybe disfigurement.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's really good. Disfigurement. Every time he does a shadow walk, a little bit of the shadows go into him. So things are happening to his skin, to just a little bit each time, but it builds up over time.
It's getting closer and closer to the plane of shadow. Another one I'm thinking of. Every time he uses it, the desire for people or anybody to maybe bow down to him, to kowtow to him, becomes more and more. He desires more power and more admonishment.
It's good because what we're doing now is we're getting to a storyline where it might not be so much about the druid that's causing the trouble, but just the fact that he's been using this artifact, that the artifact is starting to be more in control than he is.
Right.
Ooh, an intelligent weapon as well. Or intelligent
spear. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's possessed.
Yeah.
Or,
maybe it's got something trapped inside it. Maybe an extraplanar creature. Maybe
something that has some type of an enmity with the very concept of druids and the neutral alignments, but hasn't made its own agenda known to the druid.
Ooh, that's good.
Slowly convincing the druid, this is the way to go, my friend.
So that at the end of this adventure, if you're doing everything right, well, we don't want to have the grand showdown with the druid, but I was just thinking something along the lines of, instead of trying to vanquish the druid, at some point the players are almost trying to save him, but maybe that's for a future adventure.
I was also thinking with the thought projection, he can also taunt the characters when they're alone at night. He can speak to them and they can be like, ooh, who's this magical voice saying, listen to me, my friend, I am here to help you. Or something like that.
Something
dark side. Yeah.
Perfect.
Like that.
I think we got a great artifact on the shelf now.
So the artifact is almost acting like Palpatine in a way.
Yes, come to the dark side. You'll love us. We have cookies. Okay.
I'll have to watch this movie you guys are talking about sometime. What was it? Starfighter?
Yeah, the last Starfighter
Wars?
and
Space Wars. I'll watch it sometime.
Actually, what you should watch is the Blue Harvest Family Guy Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, let us end this for this week, and we'll come back to Adventure Construction Set another time. We'll let people feed on this and see what they have to say. rfistaff@gmail.com.
The Dragon's Horde.
Dragon's Horde. All right, bad song. What do we got this week, Nick?
Yes, this week on the Dragon's Horde, we have the Rod of Lordly Might, or as I like to call it, the Swiss Army magic item. So, because it kind of is. It's like the Swiss Army knife of D&D in a way.
No, it's great. It's a different thing. You actually push buttons.
Thank you. I
mean,
love this
every
item.
time I see this, I imagine it exactly what you're talking about. You push a button, pa-ching, pa-ching,
Yep.
pa-ching, here comes the mace, here comes the battle axe, here comes the sword of flame.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Love
a
it.
cool magic item, and to me, if it's one of those magic items your player gets, never wants to let go of it because it does so many different things. It's usually made out of metal, and there's a flange ball on the end. You have to have a strength of 16 or better to wield it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I
pretty
mean, you're
heavy.
not going to have lordly might if you're some sort of winkling that gets sand kicked in your face.
Right. Some of the functions it has, and they drain 1 charge, paralyzation upon touch, fear upon all enemies viewing the wielder in 60 feet maximum range, or drain 2 to 8 hit points from the opponent touched.
That was a
And
And
bestow them.
And bestow them upon the wielder. Yes.
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 And the other functions, you got a +2 mace, the +1 sword of flame, the +4 battle axe, and the +3 spear. So it could turn. It's basically 4 weapons right there.
Right.
With
we
various
got to describe it, though. I mean, I love the description for this.
So it's a +2 mace.
So
as
you've
is.
got as
Yeah.
is.
The
+1 sword of flame. When you press the first button, a blade springs forth from the ball, which becomes the hilt, while the handle shortens the weapon to an overall length of 3 feet.
Yep.
I mean, I have to think about that. Are you flipping it around? I mean, what does this even do? Are you using weapon speed in your game? Because if you're using weapon speed, what does that even do to it?
I don't even want to go think about that. Then the +4 battle axe when button 2 is pushed. The blade springs forth at the ball, and the whole thing lengthens to 4 feet length.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the +3 spear when you press button 3. And that one, the sword blade springs forth, and the handle could be lengthened up to 12 feet for an overall length from 6 feet minimum to 15 feet maximum.
Careful, you almost had a Spinal Tap moment there.
Yes.
Stonehenge, you said it was this.
Stonehenge. The druids. And
right
these,
now,
here's the thing about those functions. All 4 weapons that come out, they do not use charges.
And it gets better.
It gets better. Wait, there's more.
But we need Ron Popeil for this. So, first of all, how many times have you been in a dungeon and you need a 10-foot pole, but some DM pointed out helpfully that you can't really carry a 10-foot pole in your backpack without hitting everybody? Now you've got the Rod of Lordly Might. With the climbing pole, just press button number 4, and a spike which can anchor to granite is extruded from the butt, while the tip sprouts 3 sharp hooks. The rod lengthens 5 feet per segment, until button 4 is pushed again. Did you say you wanted a 10-foot pole? How about a 50-foot pole?
Whoa.
That's
right.
A 50-foot pole. What are you going to do with that?
Yep, and then the horizontal bars come out 1 feet apart, 3-inch length, and it can hold up to 4,000 pounds.
Jeez.
6 magnetic
north.
Will indicate magnetic north and give. So it's a compass, basically.
Oh, yes, a compass.
And it also, get this, and the possessor a knowledge of approximate depth beneath the surface or height above it, where he or she is.
So if you don't have any dwarves with you, at least you got the Rod of Lordly Might.
Also, this functions as a really good door opener. The same function when you do the climbing pole. That's right. It's multifunctional, folks. The same function will force open doors if the rod's base is planted 30 feet or less from the portal to be forced and is in line with it. The force exerted, get this, is equal to storm giant strength. So,
I get the feeling that when this was created, that somebody said, Gary, can I make a magic item? Can I have one? Can I make one? And they said, yes, but you can only make one. So pick carefully because I'm only letting you make one.
and this was it.
He's like, I put everything in. He said, yeah, it's okay.
Gary went, all right.
Yeah. You went, okay.
I've never put one of these in my campaign because honestly, it just feels like what. I just felt like it would just be too much of a Swiss Army knife, honestly.
Well, just think of the possibilities, what you can do. Now, say this thing is laying on a dungeon room floor, and your players come up to this. Is there a certain way to hold it? Because it doesn't say that, obviously. Now, say the players see this with the buttons on, and they go, ooh, what's this do? The sword comes out, hits them right in the face.
Well, or their buddy is standing across the way, they hit that button, and they accidentally stab their friend. Well,
10 feet across the room.
Yeah.
With the spear.
Or 40 feet across the room.
What the heck? You just killed Bob.
It's an evil artifact.
You're right. If you've got really experienced players, you probably need to change what it looks like a bit, change them from rods to switches, or from buttons to switches, or maybe even make them rings that you have to turn and rotate to make it happen. Sure. Something so they don't spot it right away.
Oh, just think of this. It'd be cool, since it's buttons and it's like a roundish. Why not? There's like a whole group of goblins just rolling on the ground towards them, and it hits all the buttons, and things fly out and start attacking.
Starts jumping all over the place. It goes nuts.
And just starts attacking things randomly because it's just buttons are being pushed as it's rolling.
Maybe they don't say. It's not said here whether the things that it does are mechanical or magical.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Or some mixture of both. But I would probably. Now that we're thinking about it, I would probably make it mechanical so at least there was a chance of failure. So maybe the more you use it... I mean, I know it's got the charges and everything, but the thing is that the buttons for pulling out all of your different slicers and dicers and peelers don't use any charges. So at the very least, I would start having it over time require some kind of maintenance.
Well, even when it's done, like if it's all the charges are gone... It still can function as a +2 mace or a +3 spear. It says it right in the description. Which, even then, when it's quote-unquote all drained, you can still use it as a spear or a mace, which is not too bad.
Well, no, hold on. It says when the charges are... Oh, I see. So 2 of the weapon uses do stop when the charges stop.
Yeah, functions 2 and 3, the Sword of Flame and the Battle Axe don't work anymore.
I tell you, if there's one thing I really want to see from our listeners, I want to know if there's somebody out there who's enough of a builder. Build one of these. I want to see it work.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that.
Like an actual prop.
Yeah, I want to see it. There must be somebody who's working down in LA right now making props for movies, and they're bored. They need another project. Do this on your spare time. I don't even know what we could offer as a T-shirt's not enough. You can come and host the darn show for a week or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there are some people listening to the show I think that have some pretty good connections in the film business that are listening right now, and you know who you are. I will not drop any names, but
If you can make a 3D version just to see it work on a screen, I will give a T-shirt for that. Absolutely,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I will buy you a T-shirt
and an app.
And you know what?
I will buy you
wonder
a
if
T-shirt
there's,
and
like,
an app.
You know what would be really cool, even for for the game? Maybe there's like different variants of this thing. You know, maybe one version doesn't have the Sword of Flame. Maybe it has +1 sword versus trolls or something like that springs out or something like that. It'd be cool, like different variants of this Rod of Lordly Might.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe if it's something that a particularly strong thief picks up and starts using, maybe his variant that he doesn't know about is that one of the buttons is a singing sword.
Oh, remember the singing sword? Yes. I was thinking, Jason.
We're walking very stealthily. We're not making any noise.
That was funny when we talked about that, yeah. That was episode 3 or 4, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but if I had the iPhone app in front of me right now, I could check the show notes and just listen to it.
Ooh, Jason, plug in the iPhone. Anyway,
nice.
I was thinking how you said maintenance. Maybe you would bring it to like a gnoming. There'd be a quest to go to a gnoming village, and you have to bring it to the gnomes, and they have to tinker with it.
Mm-hmm. And don't accidentally go to the gremlins. They'll tinker the wrong way.
Ooh, bad joke. Anyway, tell us how you use it. Go to our forums, rfipodcast.com. We have our little forums in there. We want to hear more feedback in the forums. Dragonsfoot.org and rfistaff@gmail.com.
Creature, theater.
Okay, creature feature. Looks like I'm going to take the reins again, one time. So that'll even it out. Everybody will have done it at least twice now.
Yay!
So we're picking up on, since we're going with the whole Nick theme of using your... I hear dice already.
Yeah, you hear them flying out of the bag and hitting the table because I just dropped the bag.
We're going to pick up on the characters we used the last time, our level 3 adventurers who met up with the crypt thing.
Yep.
Do you want to refresh the memories what the name of your character was, guys?
Yeah. This is Nick here, and I'm playing Mathis. He's a human fighter, 3rd level.
Okay.
And let's see. Yeah, chaotic good, +1 sword, and ringmail, shield +1.
Okay, great. And Jason, your character real quick?
Yes, I've got Tomas, the Dwarven Cleric. What, you want more? We heard people saying on the forums.
I know.
I just too much about the characters. I didn't feel like going into it anymore. Tomas is a Dwarven Cleric.
I paused for dramatic laughs. All right, so you guys last crawled out of the crypt, running away from the crypt thing. You do not have horses. You had a buggy and cart, I decided. And Jason, your character, not liking horses, jumped on the cart. Nick jumping on the horse, flying out of there, heading towards the mountains, because remember you had a map from a little old man that you beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And it became,
yeah, that's right.
The rain finally stopped. It became nighttime. You made a camp near the mountainside. You found a nice little area to relax and rest. And it's now probably about 2 in the morning. Jason, you are on watch right now, sitting in front of the fire, tending to it, and sitting there in complete silence.
All right, that is exactly what I'm doing, staring at the fire in silence.
I didn't say you were silent.
All right, so I'm on watch, and
Yes.
and Matthias is asleep.
Yes, you can hear him snoring in the background. I didn't say Shemp was here.
Fascinating. All right. So
you're patrolling around. You decide to get up and start patrolling around, and in the bushes near you, towards the mountainside, you hear a little rustling.
Okay. I am going to. How far away from the fire am I right now?
You're actually probably right at the fire because you just started your watch maybe about a half hour ago, so you were trying to keep warm.
Okay, well, I'm going to step far enough away from the fire that my infravision can help me detect what was making that rustling sound.
Excellent. You stepping far enough out of the vision to look in there, and you do not see anything, but you do see a heat signature that something was there.
Something was there. About how big?
Ooh, Very big. Probably about
Definitely
6,
very big.
7, 8 feet.
Okay. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to stop and listen very closely for a moment.
You stop and listen for really closely for a moment. You start hearing scurrying sounds in the sand and dirt on the mountainside.
All right. I will rush over and awaken Matthias.
All right. You kick Matthias in the gut, and he wakes up.
Football practice.
5 more minutes, Mom. Yeah. Okay, and he alerts you, saying there's some sounds on the mountainside to get ready. We might be being under attack. We don't know.
Okay, I grab my gear and sword at the ready.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you guys want to do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is to... This is a bit of a theme, but I'm going to detect evil and turn around in a 360 radius, seeing if I can detect evil anywhere.
Okay. You, actually, after spinning around, twirling and doing, you detect evil all around you.
What the deuce?
You hear more...
360 degrees of evil.
Oh, yes. You
Not
hear
good.
scurrying noises further up on the mountainside, and you see some rocks tumbling down. And when you're, with your infravision, you can see there was a heat signature just there recently on one of the mountainsides.
But the rocks didn't throw at us. They sort of just scrambled on down.
It's like
towards us,
if
right?
someone was climbing the mountain, you know how sometimes loose rocks tumble down?
Okay.
Okay.
You look further, Jason, when you get closer to the mountain, and you see the signature just disappears at one point on the mountain.
Okay. So as we spin around, I only really hear hear the noise, and then something's gone. There's no chance to see anything.
No, you hear the noise, you look up, you see the signature, you're like, huh? Yeah.
Very interesting. Matthias, do you have any kind of a ranged weapon, a bow and arrow, or a sling?
I only have my trusty sword.
Okay. I wonder if it'd be possible to just... I was going to try to cast continual light on something, throw it up that way to try to kind of give us a better view, but I guess we have no way to throw anything up that far.
Is there? If there's plenty of rocks around, I'll throw a rock at it. I don't know.
All right. Well, pick a rock that you think that you can heave that far, and I will actually pick. If I cast continual light, if I do that I'm not familiar enough with this spell. If I can actually put it on like a pile of rocks or something.
I would think you could put it on a rock if you want to throw it on a rock. I think it says one item, but I don't believe it's any particular.
Let's go for it. One item. Let's pick a rock that he can heave in the right place, but wait a moment to see if there's any pattern to where these sounds are coming from. They seem to be appearing and disappearing.
All right,
Sure.
So you heave the rock in the direction you saw the heat signature. It bounces off the general area where you threw it and starts rolling back down towards you, but you do not see anything.
Okay.
A couple more
Well, it
loose
sounds
rocks
like
fall.
there's nothing here. We should go back to sleep.
Why don't you? Sounds like a good idea.
But there's evil all around us, if you recall. You did detect evil, and there's like evil all around us.
There's that.
Yeah, that kind of
coming
ring bells
stronger.
go off in my head when I hear things like that. Just saying.
Yes.
To further help you out here, the evil is coming more from the mountainside.
I think we
More
should
from-
check that out.
The heat signature is slowly fading away, Jason.
Sorry?
The heat signature is slowly fading away now as you're looking up that way.
Okay. We're going to take one turn for me to do a chant, and then we'll head off in that direction.
Okay, what are you chanting?
Well, I'm actually doing the spell chant.
Oh, okay, and
Yes. Just to help us out with our saving throws and attacks and such. So
Gotcha.
we've got all of our saving throws, all of our damage, all of our attacks are going to be +1. All of our enemies will be -1.
all right. So, describe exactly, since we're not playing face to face and we have no miniatures, how you guys are going up the mountain side by side, single file, one person 5 foot in front of the other person. You know, how are we doing this?
Just side by side, don't you think?
Yeah, side by side
just two
sounds
of
like
us.
the best way.
All right, so you guys are climbing up the mountain. It's not really much of a climb. It's kind of like a steep hill. So you're trucking up there. You're trucking up there, and I want you both, whichever one of you guys, to roll a d6.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, I'll roll it.
And tell me what you got.
I got a 6.
All right. I rolled a 1, which this particular monster gets to surprise you guys, so he gets to attack first.
Oh, goody.
As you guys are walking up the mountain, you hear like some crumbling rocks, and you both freeze up, and you look around, and all right, I'm going to do a roll d4 here. Jason, you're 1-2. Nick, you're 3-4.
Okay.
Oh, Nick, darn.
Oh, Mathis is attacked.
All of a sudden, Jason, you turn and look to your right, and you see this giant, multi-leg creature come out of this, like, the rock in the ground, falls down, and he comes flying out and grabs Nick. Let's see if he can actually grapple Nick.
Oh, you need me to do what? I'm sorry?
I'm trying to grapple you.
Are you rolling on your grapple tables?
No, I'm rolling here on
Nice.
this.
Oh, my God. Grappling. D20?
Yeah.
Okay. 20!
No, you don't have to roll for it.
Oh, okay.
What, you're not rolling for your own grappling?
No. I have to score a successful to hit. And he hits you, and he's going to do 2 points of damage.
Ouch.
He has another attack. And he hits you again with another 2 points of damage, and he has you in his grasp.
Ow.
What kind of a grasp? Is he grabbing with his teeth? Is he like a worm?
You get a closer look at him, and he looks like a giant spider-type creature.
Ugh. Multi-legged, you said?
6 legs.
Kind of like but not not exactly a spider, huh? Okay, well. Are my arms pinned?
You are pinned, and you actually, right now, you get a -4 to any chance to hit. If you want to break it, you got to do successful bend bars, lift gates to get out of it.
Okay, when it comes to our initiative, that's what I'm going to try
and
to do.
And now we will roll
gates.
initiative, because now everybody knows where everybody is.
Okay, since I blew the other roll, why don't you go for it, Jason?
Okay, so do you want us to do our actions before we roll for initiative?
Oh yeah, tell me what you're doing. Sorry.
So I'm going to be casting command.
All right.
On the creature.
And I'm going to do the attempt to bend bars, lift gates, I think. I got a 13%. So.
Hopefully I'll be okay because it's only one segment. Hopefully I won't get attacked.
Okay.
Ooh. We just rolled a 6 for initiative.
Go!
I rolled a 6 as well.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say that since you're the players, I'm going to let you go first.
All right.
All right, then. So let's see what happens.
You're casting command on the creature?
Yes. I'm going to command... My one-word command will be release.
Okay. Now, does that affect certain hit dice creatures? I believe it does.
So it's creatures with intelligence or of 13 or more, or with 6 or more hit dice get a saving throw.
All right. So this one will get a saving throw.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm rolling the saving throw right now, looking on the chart.
Saving throw versus magic.
Okay, thank you very much. Saving throw versus magic, looking on the chart.
Please
okay.
Fail, please fail, please fail.
Jason extends his hand and he says, "Release!" And you just hear kind of a chuckle out of the creature.
Oh, it's a creature with a sense of humor. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. We
yeah.
might have
Lovely.
something here. We might have something here.
And you actually hear like a growl of "fool."
Ooh, and he talks.
Yeah, and now...
Obviously, we could parlay.
Yes. And Nick, now it is your chance to move. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said I was going to do bend bars, lift gates. Okay. Dang it!
You missed?
I rolled a 13%. I rolled a 15.
Oh!
Almost out. Duh.
All right. Well, he attacks Nick again since he has it in the grasp. And he hits. And you take 3 points of damage.
Oh.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you taking the -1 because of our chant?
Oh, yeah. That doesn't matter. He still hit anyway.
Okay, just making sure you remember.
Thank you for reminding me about that. So when I do the next attack. And he hits
Actually,
one more time.
One more thing. That saving throw, was he by any chance only one off? Because he also gets a penalty to saving throws.
No, he wasn't one off.
Ah, okay.
Nick, you take 8 points of damage.
7.
Ow.
Sorry,
ow.
7 points because
Okay.
you get -1, Jason said.
This is my favorite part of all games,
Okay,
the players
I
that are
have 4
interjecting
hit
with this junk.
Mathis has 4 hit points left.
Mathis
Okay.
actually is slowly phasing in and out of consciousness because he's getting closer to 0. And
Yes.
you look up and you get a good look at the creature, and it has like kind of a goblinoid type face to it and very hairy.
6 legs and a hairy goblinoid face.
Yes.
Well,
Nick, you really, Jason, you really can't see that because it is still kind of dark. Nick can see it because it's right in his face.
Yeah, 'cause
I don't
it's,
see a thing.
Chewing my face off.
And now we're going to the next round, so we're going to roll initiative again. Actually, tell me what you're doing first.
At this point, I don't remember if... Oh, there's a club, my +1 club. I am rushing the monster to hit him in the face with my +1 club.
Okay, and Nick?
Can I get my weapon and try to attack, or
What do you have?
I have the longsword.
No. Do you have a dagger? I would assume everybody has a dagger.
Yeah.
All right, you can use your dagger, but it'll be a -4 to hit.
All right. I might as well. Well, I guess I can try to hit.
Tell me what armor class you hit.
Okay. Well, let me roll initiative. I rolled a 1.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
And I rolled a 3, so that means you guys get to go first again.
Okay.
And you want to start with Nick this time since he wants to stab.
I hope I can hit this thing.
And he's right there, so that's a quick action.
Well, I rolled a 17 plus 1 from the Chan is 18 minus 4, 14.
And that hits armor class of... No. Armor class is...
That would hit armor class 4.
Oh, then you hit the creature. Do your damage.
Yay!
Excellent.
So I would do a, D4, all right, for a dagger?
Yes.
4 points plus 1 for damage. So, in the chant, 6 points.
Nice.
Stabby.
And Jason, you're rushing over, bashing it in the head. Go for it. Armor class of 4, obviously.
Okay. Are we doing critical fumbles?
Yes, I always do critical fumbles.
Because I rolled a natural 1.
Oh!
Oh, man.
The warrior is about to die. Doo-doo, doo-doo.
Nick, you turn to your left as you stab the creature. Ha-ha! And you go, what was his name? Tomas? Tomas, help me! And you see him grab his club, and he runs over, he trips over a rock and goes flying, and his club hits the ground, and actually he conks his head on it.
Oh, my God.
And his club goes rolling down the hill, and he goes, oh, darn. The creature, actually, looking at both of you, starts laughing.
Oh, God.
Laughing enough that Nick, he actually loosens his grip on you a little bit, so... He's still going to attack you, though.
I'm probably going to die.
He misses on the first attack.
Uh-oh.
And the second attack he hits, unfortunately. And he
much?
does... 4 points of damage.
I'm at 0. I'm out.
You hear Nick go... "Ugh," and slowly...
Mathis is out.
Tomas, you are on the ground, but we're going to roll initiative again.
Okay.
Actually, tell me what you're going to do first. I keep forgetting to do that.
I don't know if I'm going to scramble for my weapon or if I'm going to try to cast one of the few remaining spells that I have. This is really using up my spells for the day. I'm going to have to scramble for my weapon at this point because most of the stuff that I've prepared are things along the lines of slow poison, which doesn't seem to matter right now. No. So I'm scrambling for my club, and if there's time, I will try to get back and bash him again.
All right, the creature is going to drop off of Nick and charge at you. So
Excellent.
Roll for initiative.
Okay.
I got a 4.
I got a 4.
All right, I'll give it to you again.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll probably lose the initiative since I'm actually having to go get the darn club before I can use it.
Exactly. You run down the hill, you grab your club, and that's pretty much your action.
I'm using up the whole round with that? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much because you have to run down the hill to go grab it.
I'll just lie there bleeding, thank you.
Nick lies there bleeding. The creature...
Declare your action. Bleed.
I bleed.
The creature dives through the air. Jason, what was your armor class again?
Negative. No, I'm sure it's not even a negative nothing. It's where's my armor class?
I think you're AC 5.
5. Okay.
You know what? Yeah, I hadn't worked it out. It's 5 sounds right. I've got ring mail and no dexterity adjustments.
Oh yikes! The creature rolls a 1.
All right.
The creature running down the hill after Jason trips over the same rock that Jason knocked down the hill when he tripped over and goes flying over your head, tumbling down the mountainside.
I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder.
Probably about 20, 30 feet, he falls down, tumbling down the mountain. He takes a bunch of damage, and he lays there limp for a little while, and then finally starts moving around. And then just... you see him disappear into the mountainside.
I wouldn't be any kind of a cleric if I wasn't going over to do a bit of Cure Light Wounds at the moment, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you may freely actually go do that because you...
I'm not quite dead.
Yeah, you see the threat is over.
I feel better!
I want to go for a walk.
The threat is over, so you walk over, you cast light wounds on him.
My spell. Air, speed its travel well. Fire, give it spirit from above. Water, quench my spell with love.
And Nick, your eyes pop open.
Ugh.
And you see, instead of an ugly spider, you see an ugly dwarfen face in your face. Alright, so anybody guess what this creature is?
Gosh.
No idea. I have no idea.
I was going to say cave fisher, but that doesn't sound right. I have no idea. You got me.
Alright, well, if you flip open your Oriental Adventures...
Oh, that's a good one.
And you look up Goblin Spider...
Ooh.
There is your monster.
I
actually said the name of it when I described it, which I shouldn't have, but figured what the hell.
I didn't even catch it.
So next week we will actually give it. We'll review exactly what it was that went on here. We'll go into a little detail on this per our listener's suggestion.
Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. We'll let you guys flip open to page 121 in your Oriental Adventures, and you guys can write in, like Jason said, and tell me how a turn is worked out. Because I would love to hear those nasty emails. So
he's a nasty little mama jama, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's
he's
pretty clever, isn't he?
Ooh.
I didn't use one of the things, but never mind. We'll talk about that next week. Anyway, that'll end the creature feature for this time, and we will head into the out.
Ooh, one of those electronic voting dealies.
All right, so looks
my
like
character almost died.
Yeah.
Did I get experience?
2.
Yay! Hey, get those experience points where you can, right?
Exactly. So, all right. So last show we challenged the listeners to see who's right, Jason or Nick.
Well, that's not exactly.
Are we back on the poll again?
Yeah, actually, we wanted
because I think it was very fair that Nick wanted to run the poll a little bit longer because we really did need to get get more votes. You know, let's make sure this is absolutely right.
And Jason has won far beyond possibilities. And
did I?
Yes, you did.
Should I go ahead and read it off what we got for the for the votes?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So here we go on the which creatures you think should be affected by animal friendship, either the ring or the spell. Now, with 55% of the votes, and that's 24 votes total on that, all creatures with animal intelligence and neutral alignment. So that's the winner.
So they said Jason was right then.
Well, yeah. 34% with 15 votes is just real animals, but things like fire lizards are okay. So that was 34%, and 11% of the votes, only creatures that are real animals that have existed on Earth. So,
all right. So, I mean, you know what? In the Supreme Court, this would have been a 5-4 decision.
Yeah,
so I think
pretty much.
So the dissenting opinion is still pretty reasonable. I can see the argument for it, which is very easy for me to be magnanimous about because I won.
Oh boy.
Okay, do your little happy dance.
Always, I'm doing it.
Yeah. If you'd like to see actual video of the happy dance, Jason will be glad to put it up on our ifipodcast.com. Please write in.
Yes. I'll just send it viral.
Yeah. Okay, and what do we have here? Oh, the Skype game, Jason. You want to talk about that before we get out of here?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Depending on what day this podcast goes up, we may be doing the Skype game tonight, if this is Wednesday, or tomorrow, if this is Tuesday. We're going to be... on the lead up to Gen Con, to give me a little bit of a warm-up run-through for the adventure that I'm going to be DMing at Gen Con, we'll be doing a one-off adventure. So doing it Wednesday night from 7 to 10 Eastern, and Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4. And it should be pretty fun. I'm actually going to try out, at the suggestion of more than one person, I'm going to try out a little thing called rptools.net. And they have a thing called Map Tool, which if I can figure this out, if it looks straightforward enough. I mean, if it turns out to be too convoluted, we won't do this. But never let it be said that we are Luddites. What we're going to be doing is I will be hosting the game over Skype, just over audio, not video, because we can't do conference video.
Can't do multiple conference videos unless you go to Ustream.
Yeah, we'll see. I might be using Acrobat Connect, which is sort of a web meeting software. So
Google.
There's a possibility, if everybody's got cameras and they want to do it, we may put that into the mix. And we're going to give a try to this rptools.net tool, which essentially is a map tool that lets me display the map for all the people and put in some fog of war, so to speak, so they can't see things they're not supposed to see.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll give it a try. It looks cool.
Also, to add to your list of looking through software, Jason, in case you have problems with map tools, which is excellent, but just in case, there's OpenRPG.
OpenRPG. I'm writing it down now.
It actually has the same functions as MapTool. Well, maybe not as advanced, but it has the fog of war type thing, and it has the chat room, so you can whisper to people. And you don't need to host it on your own computer. You can actually go through their servers and stuff. And there's something called Gamer's Table.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard of that one, too.
That one is pretty solid like MapTools. It has a little more function, and it actually is very fun. Okay. And there is also a program called, which is really cool, but you have to pay for it, Fantasy Grounds 2.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Excellent software. I actually got a chance to demo it a while back, and I had a lot of fun because the dice actions are really cool, and the amount of things you can do, play sounds, and it's really cool. So it's really worth an investment. A lot of money, but it's worth the investment.
Get all these links up on...
Yeah, I'll put them up.
Send them to me for the show notes, and I'll try to be good about putting those in right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, sure. All right, and I'll try to get another...
Who knows? Maybe not this time around, but maybe in a future game, I will actually use my Dragonfire 2 DM's assistant on my Apple II during the game.
All right, so that we got that. As far as the actual play podcast we talked about, I think we're going to wait till after Gen Con for that, so we can arrange a perfect schedule for all of us.
Right.
Yeah, going to figure out. Well, we'll see if any of the people from this one-off are players that might be appropriate to bring over to that. We'll figure out who the party's going to be at some point.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, and we'll try to stick up a new poll so you guys can start voting on it, so we can talk about it. I'll get cracking on that for my little job.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's going to lead us off, and happy trails to everybody, and don't forget to listen to the Chronicles of Something or Other.
Yes.
Please send your healing potions to Mathis.com. You need some healing big time.
Don't actually go to Mathis.com because we don't know where that actually leads.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Kids, ask your parents to go to Mathis.com first and see if it's right for you.
Yes, and actually I'd like to congratulate the Power Source on D20 Radio for getting an Ennies nomination for the Podcast Awards. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
Go to the Any Awards, I think it's AnyAwards.com, and you can vote for them because they're part of the D20 Radio Network. We want them to win the gold. So, congratulations, guys, and good luck. We're going to say goodnight tonight. This is DM Vince signing off from Jason. Have a great night. Keep it original, keep it old school, and keep it funny.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Roll for initiative.